By the way, Vivan, I'm wearing a creator t-shirt today, so I want some extra points.
Vivan, I don't have a creator t-shirt.
Yeah, but it's a very nice t-shirt. I love the fit of it. So, hi guys, welcome to another episode of HYFI Fridays. And the objective is to tell you about the updates from on the HYFI blockchain project, as well as to answer whatever questions that you may have. So awesome. So Shiram, would you like to start with some of the questions you've received during the week?
Yeah, hi, sure. 1 second. I'll just open up the questions in my
Sure.
phone. So these are the questions that I received via DM.
Sure.
Question number 1. Can we earn HYFI without using airdrop?
Sure. There are lots of ways. You could run test nodes for the HYFI blockchain project, or you could run uh, even the live nodes. So any verified entity can run the nodes. And of course, you can feel free to join our team. So we're always looking for awesome developers, as well as architects, business development associates. So
Yeah.
all that is mentioned on the site. So there are tokens for the team. So definitely we look forward to that. All you need to do is get in touch with Shinam on LinkedIn.
Or on Instagram.
Sure, on Instagram.
Second question that I've received is, when are the quiz series starting from?
Very soon. So in fact, we're going to make a very interesting development, a very interesting announcement soon, which is about a blockathon on the concept of blockchains for a better world, which Blockchain Bulls is doing along with Creator Club, and HYFI will be one of the technology partners. So we expect to make that official announcement very soon, and after that, we'll be announcing the regular quiz also.
Okay, how can we be part of HYFI network? I think that means about how they can run the nodes and
Sure. So like I mentioned, the best way to be would be to get in touch with Shiram.
one more thing, that they have to get KYC done before they can start running a HYFI node.
Yeah, sure. So it's all verified entities.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to get verified.
Are you hiring, and if you're hiring, for which all profiles are you hiring?
So like I mentioned, we're looking for tech as well as business development. In tech, we're looking for architects as well as developers. So ideally, we want people who have experience with Bitcoin Core. But even if you don't have experience with Bitcoin Core, that's fine, but that would be a preferred way. Because as you know, what we use primarily is multi-chain, which is running on the Bitcoin Core. And in fact, I'm also personally going to be taking a couple of interns very soon. So if you've got experience with integrating MetaMask and setting up Web3 logins and other such things, get in touch with me directly. I'll be putting out an announcement to that very soon.
Do you have a specification for the developer stack that you're looking for? If you have, then you can announce it.
For my personal interns, I'll be putting up the announcement very soon with all the details.
Okay, last question that I have received is, can we talk more about Flip? What is the downside of Flip?
Sure, that's a very good question. So as you know, at HYFI, the main objective is tokenization of real world assets. So when we look at the approach which has been taken by the government of India, the government of India has divided crypto into two categories. One, which is called a virtual digital asset, or a VDA, which comes directly under the tax, and you pay 30% tax and 1% TDS. That is where the conventional cryptos like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and NFTs come in. Then there is a separate category of NFTs which are backed by real world or tangible assets. And that's the only area that we work in. So Flips is where this particular NFT is backed by intellectual property rights. In the first stage, we are looking for copyrights of movies, books, and music. So the objective is it would allow creators to raise funds from their fans and then build these, whether it's a movie or a music album or a book, and allow their fans and community to also commercially benefit from it. Now, obviously, Shinam, you vanished. We can't see you anymore.
Yeah, I was trying to do some setting, because for me, your face is frozen.
Oh, okay. So now in this kind of an approach, obviously there are some chances in which things could go wrong. So let's take an example that an author picks up money from the community, but then doesn't deliver the book on time. So that is definitely a kind of risk which would be anywhere in the world. I mean, that can happen with or without Flips. So I would say that is one area we need to be careful. So for movies, what we are doing is initially we are restricting it only to movies that have been released. So
Yeah.
once the movie's been released, it's very clear the copyright license is in use, and that can be then fractionalized to the community members. For books and music, we would allow it even while it is being written. So I would say the only risk or something which could go wrong is if the author doesn't, or the author doesn't deliver on time. Any other questions?
No, these were the questions that I
Okay.
received. Anybody has more questions, feel free to send us on our social media pages and we will take up on the next session.
No, you could even type it in right now if you want.
Yeah, I mean, that also you can do.
On a personal level, as you know, I run two programs. One is called the Blockchain Developer Course, and the other is the DeFi Masterclass. Both of them are now in full swing. Even though you guys have missed maybe the first module, feel free to join in. You can always cover up all the videos and all are available. Both these are free courses. And ideally, I'd like to take my interns also from these courses. So
Can you clarify one thing? Because a lot of people ask me this question, that why do we run these courses for free? Like, why don't we charge? Is there something shady about this? I don't know
no.
why people don't believe that we want to do it.
Sure. So our objective, or at least my objective behind these courses, is quite different. So when I talk about blockchain, we're always looking for good talent, and so are a lot of other projects which I'm connected to. And we feel that when you go out there and spend a lot of money on courses, they don't teach you the practical stuff about what we really need. So we've designed the blockchain developer course in such a way that not just HYFI, but so many of our other known startups, what are the skill sets that we want? So consider it like a way of spending on talent acquisition cost. Otherwise, we would hire someone and then spend time, money, and effort training the person. Instead of that, they do the course provided by us, they get trained, and then it's easier for them to get a job with us. So that's kind of the way I look at it. I've been running free courses for many, many years now. And as you realize, I don't even take your confidential details. I don't ask you to fill up any data or give any money. So no, don't worry about it. There's no hidden agenda.
There's a
Tarun has
question.
a question. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about Google search trending about is Bitcoin dead, even though it's on its way to an all-time high?
So Tarun, what I would like to say is don't get influenced or worried about this thing. That's what we standard in our industry call as FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. There are lots of people who have a vested interest in talking like this. See, because there are people who are always trying to make money either way. Now we know the bears make money when prices go down. So what they do is they short sell, and then when price goes down, they cover up. So now if you're a bear and you've short sold, then obviously you want the price to dip, right? So they pay the media, they put out these kind of articles. So I don't think we should bother much about that. Of course, having said that, I'm not trying to say that this is a good time to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. That's your call. I mean, each one of us has a different way of looking at it. So that's a different thing altogether. But whenever I read these kind of negative articles, I don't really care much about it. In fact, I don't know if you attended this session, but last week I was on national television with Arnab Goswami and a few other people, and the topic was about whether crypto should be banned. And even there, I said, look, just because crypto is misused by some people, and it is, there's no doubt about it. But just because it is misused doesn't mean we start talking about a ban. We talk about regulation.
But
I
other
mean,
things are
classic,
also,
yeah.
I mean, other things are also getting misused, like cash. People keep.
Exactly. It's not like before crypto, there was no crime in the world, right? It's not like suddenly everyone became a criminal just because crypto came. So
Correct.
in the past, the criminals have used cash, gold, silver, diamonds, you name it. Now, do we say that we should ban all that? No, we regulate. So I think it's ridiculous when people make such statements. They obviously are just looking at making quick money. That's about it.
I to define crypto market is like a sine wave. It keeps going up, down, up, down. No need to be scared. No need to be excited about going up prices. I don't know.
Yeah, so what happens there when we look at it, the way I think about it is that unfortunately we have a lot of tourists in the crypto market. Now what I mean by tourists is people who don't understand
Right.
blockchain much. They just come in because they feel they can make quick money. So they see an ad saying, oh, put 100 rupees into Bitcoin and you will become a rich person. And then they put tons of money and then they end up losing it, and then they spoil the name of our market. So these are tourists, right? So they come, they go. We shouldn't really bother about them. What's important is we need to build good use cases, right? It makes sense that if the use case is good and solves an economic problem or helps people to make more money in a proper format, that's what all of us should be building. And in due time, I'm sure we'll all be doing that.
Any other question?
One. Okay. No, I can't see any more questions yet. Okay. So great. If there are no questions, I look forward to interacting with you guys next week. And we'll be making a lot of, yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to make an announcement. If you guys can just send us anything that you want to know about HYFI in advance so that we can take it up, and we can probably give more time to you guys and then give a detailed like discussion about that topic. That would be great.
Sure. Yeah. So great. I look forward to seeing you guys soon, and keep tuned. We'll be coming out with a lot of very interesting announcements over the next few days, both from blockchain bulls as well as from HYFI blockchain. So see you guys. See you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, one second. I've got a question. What is hybrid finance? Sure. So Nishan, that's a good question. So as you know, we have centralized finance, which is the current world where you have the regulators like the RBI, SEBI, and in every country you have such regulators. So when they control finance, we call it centralized finance. DeFi is where Ethereum comes into the picture, and wherever you do financial activities around public blockchains, we call that decentralized finance. Now both central and decentral have their own problems and their own benefits. So hybrid finance connects the two. So we are talking about a world where we are doing business on the blockchain, but in a manner where it can be regulated by the regulators. So you have proper legal KYC, anti-money laundering in place. You have proper grievance redressal and consumer protection. So consider HYFI to be CFI plus DeFi. That's kind of what it is. And you can read up more about it on the website also. On the HYFI website, we made some mind maps to explain that concept. Yeah. Sanjay says, after completing your blockchain developer course, how would I start my career as a developer? Do industry allow freshers? That's a very good question. So as you know, in every industry, right, people say we want experience. Now the problem starts is that if you don't get your first job, how do you get the experience? But you know what? Even the industry is not wrong. I mean, every project thinks, why should I allow a fresher? I'd rather take someone with experience. So what I would recommend, the best way to start is, when we look at any of these established blockchain projects, they are all open source. Yeah. So almost all the major blockchains as well as the dApps are open source. So nobody is stopping you as a fresher from forking one of those projects, making some changes and improvements, and publishing your own version. Now, when you apply and you say, you know what, I've already worked on these projects or I've done this, I wouldn't, or nobody would treat you like a fresher anymore. I would say the definition of a fresher is somebody who has zero practical knowledge. So the best way is do a little bit of your own forking and developing, put that on your resume, and let people realize you're not just someone who's learned theoretically, but you've got some practical knowledge. I don't foresee there would be much problem after that. Plus, a lot of these startups and projects, they're all over social media, right? So you could follow them on Discord and start contributing. So if you regularly post something, you regularly make comment, they start to notice you. So they realize you're an active person, and then the chances of you getting a job with them are much higher.
Please, yeah. What are your views on privacy tokens?
Okay, so when we talk about privacy coins like Monero and all that, so I like the technology. They're really, really awesome the way they're designed, but obviously they are misused very heavily. So I believe that while initially Bitcoin was the crypto most used by the criminal element, today it is more Monero and other kind of privacy coins which are misused. So from a tech point of view, as a developer, I think they are amazing. You guys should try to have a look at how Monero is built. Go through the source code and see how ring signatures and all work. It's absolutely amazing. So from a tech point, I think they are awesome. But from a legal point of view, I think mostly they are misused. There's very little genuine usage. It's mainly misuse. Hope that answers your question, Nishan.
One question that we have from LinkedIn is, do we have protection against civil attack, and how that protection will work? What stops illicit users from creating multiple nodes with fraudulent information?
Yeah, that's a very good question that you've asked. So when we look at hybrid finance blockchain and the way that we have designed it, so there is no real incentive for you to run the nodes. I mean, in the sense like there is no competitive mining wherein you get rewards. So the benefit is not much. So suppose you set up a lot of fraudulent nodes, it's not going to help you in any way because hybrid finance blockchain is permissioned. It is not permissionless. So if you just have mining permissions, which is by default, anybody who sets up a node, all that you're doing is you are validating transactions. You cannot put fake transactions in. You could just validate and you get nothing. So there's no real misuse that we are worried. So what I would recommend, if you go through our white paper and you go through the multi-chain, which anyway we're going to cover in the developer course, you'll see a list of 8 different permissions that are there for every address. So we are very, very particular when we give people those permissions. So the right to create tokens, you need a very high level of verification before we give you that. So once you understand those 8 different permission sets, you realize that we're not so worried about people running nodes of their own. There's not much you can do. Hope that answers your question. I don't know your name, but whoever's posted it on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Not that I
In fact, in the blockchain developer course, I think 2 more weeks and then we move on to setting up your own blockchain. At that time, we'll be going deep diving into multi-chain as well as Bitcoin Core. So then it'll be quite clear for you to understand how these kind of attacks are protected against.
Can you please send the white paper link?
Yeah, sure. Give me a second. I'll just.
Or even if you post it here,
I've just posted it in the link here. You can just click on that and open it up.
It's available on the HYFI
Yeah, I put the PDF link directly.
Yeah.
And after reading the PDF, if you have any questions, you can always message us or you can ask us directly next Friday also.
How hard is it to get into the technical side of Web3 without having development experience in Web 2.0?
Okay. Okay, so I'll be very honest here. If you do not have any kind of a tech background, you just have to work a little harder at it. So when we look at Web 2 and Web 3, what are the real differences, right? The front end is still the same, the back end is still the same. The only difference is that somewhere there is going to be a blockchain layer coming, right? So in a typical Web 2 kind of a application, you're still going to have your HTML, JavaScript, Node.js, whatever, MySQL and other database. Now somewhere in the middle, we need to connect to the blockchain, right? Now the blockchain is where we can access it in multiple ways. One is you run a node, one is you create your own smart contract, or then you simply use the API services. None of these are that difficult to start off with. So if you have zero tech experience, you just have to work a little harder at it. But it's not that difficult, I'll be very honest. So all you could do is you could pick a programming language of your choice, whatever you like, whether that's PHP or it's Node.js, Java, C++, whatever. And then it's not so difficult to integrate blockchain into it. Every blockchain developer does not write smart contracts. In fact, I'd be very honest with you, I'd say a vast majority of us don't really end up writing smart contracts too often.
True.
It's mainly integrations and APIs and those kinds of things. And even if you do end up writing, sometimes what you do is you would take open source templates like those provided by OpenZeppelin.
Will HYFI blockchain be having an app?
Multiple actually, yes, there will be. So what we're doing at HYFI, like I said, is we are tokenizing real world assets. So definitely there are marketplace kind of applications which are being built. So not just by us, but by third parties. Like even if you look at Ethereum, the Ethereum core team does not make any of the dApps. It is startups who make it. They run the blockchain and they develop the core of the blockchain, and the API service is open to the world, and then other people build the dApp. We're taking a very similar approach. Could you read the next one?
Yeah, I'm thinking starting with Tarun, I'm starting with JavaScript and Python and also looking into APIs as well. Very excited to actually start learning blockchain development and smart contracts as well. That was a statement. There's a question. How will nodes get rewarded?
That's a very good point. So the objective here is not to reward nodes for the validation process. And I'll explain to you. So when we look at the centralized world, you have banks today, right? Banks are running massive computer networks, spending millions and millions of dollars every year. What do they get? They make money from the banking business. So similarly, just like a bank doesn't need to be reimbursed to run a technology because that's what runs their business, we expect HYFI nodes to be run by entities who are actually using the platform to raise money or tokenize their own assets. So you can make huge amounts of money in that. The cost of running a HYFI node is $5 a month. And that is, I mean, on the higher side, you can actually run a node at $5 a month. So I don't really expect anyone to think like, how will I recover my $5 here? So the nodes are for people who are actually making money from the system. So let's say I am a small startup or say I'm a farmer. based in some country of the world, and I want to use HYFI to tokenize my agricultural commodities. I would make my money from the agricultural commodities, not really by running a node. The node is what helps me to have my own data safe, and I can see all the transactions, and I don't have to depend on a third party for it. So again, go through the white paper and you will understand how HYFI is different from DeFi, and that is why we don't really look at rewarding you for running nodes.
Yeah, that's it.
Above questions, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but yeah, thank you for the question. And for next time, if you do come in on Creator and attend our session, you also earn learn tokens. So that's an added incentive for you to join us on any of our live streams. Any other questions?
No questions, Steve.
Okay. Thank you so much. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.